uh, one thing that we need to quickly go over is I need to let you guys know how this 10-week program is being structured. First week, what we will know about is what we are. What is our inner DNA? DNA, you know, right? It's a technical biological term, which is deoxyribonucleic acid. So that means all our characters, everything is defined. What we are, that is going to be strong till we die. I mean, since our birth to our death, that's going to be our character. That's how it is ingrained in it. So I'll just let you know what this inner DNA and how these programs span across for the next 10 weeks. In the first week, we're going to discover what our inner DNA is. That is the foundation of what we are, who we are, and what drives us. And in the second week, we'll identify what are integrated power coding. What does it mean? It means we are going to discover and understand how we have been programmed and how the coding in our mind is in terms of which helps us make decisions in our lives. So that is what is called as integrated power coding. So we will go over, understand what has been driving us so far. And the third week, we will, the third phase is outcome plus, where we are going to define what are the different outcomes that we are going to achieve in our lives, which we have not paid close attention to so far. So we will spend significant amount of time in identifying those outcomes and how are we going to achieve it. Unleash You is the another next phase where we are going to understand which people, the environment in which we are living, what has been affecting, how it has been, the conducive environment that we have or we have to create in achieving those objectives or the outcomes, right? So here, in this case, we need to look at what are the kind of people who are affecting our lives and where we are spending our time and how to unleash our, true self. That is what is the fourth stage. The last one is the success blueprint. In this case, we are going to define what success means to us, and in the outcome, we have identified what are all the outcomes that we want to achieve, right? So those things, we are going to put it in a vision board and look at how we are going to create that blueprint. The more and more you look at it, you will be driven towards achieving that. So that is what is the success blueprint. This is how it is being designed. Okay. Now, having this understood what this whole program is all about, let's come to the next phase, which is about who we are or who are you. I'm sure you would have looked at the personality assessment test that was shared with you. So hope you have answered those questions and it has given you a report. Right. So I'm sure you would have looked at it. So can one of you, probably Prabhu, so can you just look at it and let me know what has been your experience of going through that particular assessment?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned initially, we didn't spend much time thinking about each of the questions. Just spontaneously went about answering them.
Right.
So, at last, it felt like you have been sitting there and watching me, how I did and what my personality is all about. It came pretty much accurate. So I was wondering, how did you make out? Or how is the system being designed to get that out?
Okay. Can you just, what has been a quick summary of what your personality is?
I was, the assessment report mentioned me as a type 1 personality, which mentions about Mahatma Gandhi and Stephen Covey and so on.
I see.
So it becomes like a perfectionist kind of an outcome, where we have, around 5 different states came out in that. Good state, best state, good state, average state, low state, and destructive state. So yeah, it gave me.
So you were able to relate to it. So when you looked at your report, you were able to make out, in each of the states how you normally behave, how your traits are in those states. Yeah, so was it matching very clear?
That's what I'm saying. It looks like you have been sitting there and mapping my profile to get it out. So I was pretty impressed by the outcome, what it came out.
Awesome, yeah. Awesome. So good that now you know. So now that becomes a base for all of our next set of actions that we're going to take in the due course. So I have a couple of questions. So probably when you looked at your report, in which state you seem to have spent, or you have been spending too much time in that? So, as you looked at, you have the report with you, right?
Yeah,
So, good, bad, and average state and the destructive state. So, in which state you normally have been spending more time?
So yeah, it was pretty accurate for like how it was for Prabhu. For me also it was accurate. It's again type 1 Mahatma Gandhi. I've been happy to read the assessment. It said about the different states. What gave me happiness was most part of my recent past I spent in good state.
Good state.
In good state.
Okay.
And I was also able to relate to the bad state and the disruptive states also, but it's a little bit been minimum and not too much, but been spending in good state. But I want to work on what are those bad states, why I was in those bad states and disruptive states, and take it forward with on this assessment.
So how often a good state is fine? I mean, let's not spend too much time on it because that's how you're naturally, or most of the time that you have spent there. So if you can address those states where you have been in average or bad states, if you can fix that, your entire life is going to be like you'll always be at your high performance level, right? So if you can just relate to it, for example, one of the questions is what makes you go into the below average state? What are those? If you can just share one or two.
Right. So it's the assessment said I'm a perfectionist, and in my work life and also in my personal life, I noticed when things or people are not aligned to my plan, which according to me is perfect in that given situation, I get really disturbed in my mind. It can be getting angry or losing patience. So that is when it takes me to those below average state. And whatever positive results can come out, me going in that below average state can spoil things more and do not get the actual results which we want.
Okay.
So this is what I could say.
So would you like to address those areas? Would you like to take some actions to address those your actions, not expecting others to be changing themselves? So you would like.
Yeah, I realize because I am in that below average state and I am the reason for not the desired results coming out. So I certainly want to look into it, work on that, and see that I increase the span of good state to be more.
Super. So that's a good thing. So probably I hope you also have certain actions that you want to take in those areas as well, because that's the one thing. Coaching is all about moving from looking at future and taking actions. How we can be happy and be excited in our lives, right? So I hope you have also certain actions in mind in those areas.
Right. It's about figuring out what makes me to move to the lower states and how I should be conscious enough so that I am aware that I am now moving into the low state or I am in the low state, so that it gives me a motivation to move up to the higher state. Then I can focus specific actions to move up the ladder.
All right. So let's identify. So again, this is the second step in this scheme of things what we have spoken so far. So we will move ahead in identifying the other areas of life where we need to act upon those areas which takes us to the next level. Right. So we'll identify that.
Okay.
That's it.